We need as much data as physically possible when it comes to any kind of violence against women and girls. We don't know with the extent of the gangs, where they were, what was happening, and we don't know wider statistics around what was happening to young girls like me, because when it comes to violence against women and girls, we do not have the data. I'm working with the government now to make sure that children that are born of rape aren't allowed to be contacted by the father. We haven't got any kind of statistics around how many children are born of rape every day and who the perpetrator is. When it comes to violence against women and girls, we have to have better statistics across the board, not just on this issue, definitely, absolutely on this issue, but across the board.
Some would say, Natalie, if I may call you that, some would say there's a real danger of inflaming racial tensions here. How would you, and I'm sure that's not something you would want for a second, how would you counter that concern?
When men of any ethnicity attack women, whether they are girls under or over 16, they must be brought to justice. If it's found out that this is a certain ethnicity of men, then absolutely we should know about it. But most importantly, they should be behind bars.
You have personal involvement in this sphere. How much are you prepared to tell the listeners, Natalie?
I will happily tell the listeners that there is a reason I'm speaking out today, and it is because I am so angry. And the reason I'm angry is because I see my lived experience of being ignored as a victim, being told that it is my fault, and for the man that did this to me, the men that did this to girls like me, never being held to account. And now I see politicians, mainly Kemi Badenoch, that ignored us for years and said she never met with a single victim when she had the power to do something about it. She never spoke about grooming gangs once. In the last Parliament, we spoke about football more often than we spoke about rape. Now I see her using my lived experience and the lived experience of girls up and down our country for political point scoring. Just to
remind, not at all, just to remind, of course, Mrs. Badenoch was Minister for Women and Equalities in the previous administration. That's why you feel so strongly, is it, Natalie, that she should have done more?
Kemi Badenoch was a Minister for Women and Equalities. She never met a single grooming victim. She never spoke about grooming in the chamber. What was she doing? Why was she letting us down? And why is she now sending an email out to Conservative Party members that says we won? How has anybody won on this? She might think that she's won in terms of political point scoring, but I tell you, there are victims up and down the country that are so angry with her for how she so badly let us down.
Well, you might have the opportunity to put a question to her at some point, or at least to see her face to face in and around the House of Commons. What would you say to her, woman to woman?
I would say that we are a group of women that have been ignored and used for other people's gain. You have done this to us as well. You ignored us for too long, and now you are using us for your own political gain. You should apologise.
There's a lot of pressure directed towards your party leader, Sir Keir Starmer, in that as recently as the start of this year, he was saying anyone calling for the inquiry was jumping on the far-right bandwagon. He would say that since he's read the Casey review in detail, he's had a change of heart on this. How supportive are you of that? And are you buying that line that it's because he read the review?
So, Nick, I am one of those that, like Keir Starmer, never thought a review was the answer. Maybe it's because I've been let down by the state for too long. I see reviews, quite cynically, as a way to kick things into the long grass, spend millions of pounds and take years to make things happen. But actually, if we look at the last government and the J report, they just ignored all the recommendations. So I never wanted another review. Instead, I wanted perpetrators to be behind bars, for us to be deporting the foreign nationals that are doing this to our young girls when they are found guilty and not entering the asylum system. I want to see that when a young girl phones a 999 control room, there's somebody trained that can support her. I want to see somebody in every police station that can help with this kind of thing. I want to see police officers that are trained to believe us. We're getting all of that led by a Prime Minister that was tackling Rochdale over a decade ago and has absolute experience around this. I believe we've never had a Prime Minister as qualified as Keir Starmer to tackle this. That's what he's doing. And I love that he was never just taking the easy political route and saying, yeah, we'll have another national inquiry. Instead, he said, we'll do everything we can to get these people behind bars. And then he got a real expert in Baroness Casey to look into it. And she says, you know what, Keir, this is very dodgy and we do need to do something about it. And he accepts that. And I fully support him.
Lastly, if I take you back to the days when you were a 15-year-old girl and you're most vulnerable, did people listen to you? What were you told, Natalie?
I was told that I had ruined my life. But more importantly, I'd ruined my daughter's life. That my unborn child would be trapped in a life of poverty. She would never go anywhere. We would stay on benefits forever. And the genuine sadness I saw in people that cared about me was nicer than the shame that was directed at me by those that didn't care. Nobody ever asked about the father, where he was, who he was, what happened when the DNA test came back that said that he was a far older man. Nobody ever questioned that. I'm grateful that the last Labour government wrapped its arms around me and made sure I got a sure start, that I could go to university and that me and her could be looked after and I could now have an incredibly amazing 4-month-old granddaughter. I feel very lucky that my experience went well. But this is the side that needs tackling now. We need to be asking the questions about the fathers and holding them to account.
What happened to him, Natalie? Did you ever find out?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. Like too many men in our communities. I've been contacted by the police and asked if I will press charges. Why would I want to go through a system like this? It's so horrendous. I'm too busy supporting constituents as they're going through it, the brave women. Nothing happened to him. He told me this was endemic. We had the highest teenage pregnancy rates in Europe in my area. He told me that he knew how to, 1, say I was a liar, 2, protect himself, and 3, make sure he never paid a penny towards her. These men are walking around our communities now.